Hi, this is Louise from the Purpose-Led School, and welcome to this week's short. In the last week, I went to an amazing conference. It was something called One Young World, and I found myself speaking to around 150 to 200 young leaders who really wanted to have a positive impact on this planet. And the reason I wanted to share about this in this week's short is that as I was standing on stage, something really clunked in for me. In that I always talk about how the cavalry is not coming, that we are the cavalry. And when I've spoken about that to kind of different age groups of leaders in different generations, some basically don't get at all what I'm talking about. Others may kind of nod politely, but it's like, yeah, but it'll be that person over there. And for the first time, what I experienced in that room was the feeling that the cavalry had finally arrived. That generation were, yes, we are the cavalry, and we are here. And it gave me a huge amount of hope, because whatever is going on right now, the transition team is now here. And so if you are part of what I call the transition team, which is helping the transition from the old system to the new system, whatever generation you may be in, I want to say, yay, we need you. So glad you're here. And at the same time, there was a point in the conference when somebody on stage asked this audience, how many of you don't feel good enough? And the whole of the audience actually put their hand up. And I thought that was so striking. Here is a generation, here are leaders who are determined and committed to changing things. You know, they're not kind of wondering if the status quo needs to keep going or not. They know it needs to change. And at the same time, they were not feeling good enough and up to the task. And so I want you to know that anybody anyway who's watching this video, but particularly any of you who identify with this idea of the transition team, what I want you to get is that you are good enough. You are up to this task, even if you don't feel ready or you don't know where to start or you don't know how to do it. I want you to imagine that you are made for this. You are made for these times. And if you don't know, you'll work it out, because that is who you are. And the truth is, I've been in this area, working in this whole area of sustainability, the new economy, and since about 15 years ago. And I remember at that time when, a few of us as outliers, we were kind of talking about it and like, things need to change. And you talk and nobody would understand what the hell you were talking about. And now 15 years later, because those leaders at that time decided to show up, even if they didn't know how, even if it seemed weird, even if nobody understood. Well, 15 years later, everybody's talking about it, and we know we've got a problem. Yeah, we haven't fixed it yet, but at least we're in that piece and that point where we're going, okay, we need to start looking at how we really fix it. Now, none of us, do you think any of us felt good enough for that? No. We just decided that our insecurities, well, actually, in view of what we needed to do, we had a choice about how we focused. And that it mattered more that we showed up than pandering to our own insecurities. And so, this is just to say all of us have those insecurities. Because in any event, when you start really going for it in terms of actually being willing, wanting, and taking action to support the transition, we are all in no man's land. We are all in the wilderness. We are all in the unknown, uncertainty, in an area where it's unstable, where we don't have our bearings, where we don't know how to be perfect, where we don't know how to be good enough, whatever good enough is. We're just in uncharted territories. First of all, trying to hold it together and not burn out. And then we work it out. We dig deep inside ourselves, because deep inside ourselves, what you'll find is they are the answers that you need. They are the answers that you're here to bring. They are there. And you will find a way. In a way, it's the most amazing adventure you'll ever have, because you will truly discover what you're capable of. There will be ups, there will be downs, there will be times where you definitely don't feel good enough. But in those moments, you need to remind yourself that showing up matters more. That you may have forgotten, but you are extraordinary. And often we just don't realize that you can find the answers that are needed. Yeah, you might need to go for a long walk before you do that. You may need to have somebody who reminds you, we can do this. And ultimately, this is what this video is for. You can do this. And so, to all of you out there who are members of this transition team, at whatever stages that you are, some of you may be hardcore going for it. Some of you may just be at that point where it's like, I wonder what I want to do with my life. I wonder what my purpose is. I wonder if I can do anything. Wherever you are at, know that you've got this. And this is your time. And as always, it matters to me how these shorts land with you. So let me know. What are you taking from this, and what are you going to do differently?